spirit of enterprise is sparked by the sunrise industries of high tech and by small business people with big ideas. People like Barbara Proctor, who rose from a ghetto to build a multi-million-dollar advertising agency in Chicago. Carlos Perez, a Cuban refugee who turned $27 and a dream into a successful importing business in Coral Gables, Florida. People like these are heroes for the 80s.
President Ronald Reagan, during his 1984 State of the Union address, acknowledging Carlos Perez and his accomplishments over the years. We had a chance to sit down with that Cuban-American political figure and radio talk show host, along with Governor Mike Huckabee during our special Battleground Florida coverage. And we began by getting the Carlos Perez perspective on Donald Trump.
And I think that Trump, in some way, somehow, has been able to get the opinion of the electorate. In my humble opinion, not because he's here, but in my humble opinion, two candidates of the Republican Party were going to be the success this year, Jeb Bush and Mike Huckabee. They are what they call natural. If you analyze the personality of every presidential candidate, you could see that the experience, that the common sense, and so on, experience are the determining factor. And here is the Trump phenomenon, that I call it a phenomenon, something unbelievable in American politics. But the guy has channelized, as I was telling you the other day, early in the morning, rating is power. And to be in the hit parade constantly, those are two essence of Donald Trump. Plus the fact that he has been a success in business, and people on their knees, people want American to be great again. People want to be American to be a winning force. And those things are, in my humble opinion, what is driving the Trump phenomenon.
Let me turn to you, Mike, because you heard words of praise here from Carlos. I'm just kind of curious. You're in the miracle business.
I wasn't this year.
Well, yeah. Well, sometimes there's setback, but is it conceivable that Rubio could defy the pollsters, that there could be such a turnout in South Florida that he'd be able to win?
There certainly is always that opportunity, but let's keep in mind, a lot of people in Florida have already voted. I think we miss how much of the vote is early voting in Florida, and it's been underway now for, in many counties, 2 or 3 weeks. So he can't get those votes. You can't go back and unvote. I also think that the momentum, Ben Carson's endorsement, the fact that he has been nonstop in the eye, Trump is going to be a very difficult force to defeat. And one of the challenges Marco faces is that the perception, and look, one thing I do know, you know this, you've been a candidate. Once a perception has been cemented, and the press is real good at cementing a perception, he has not a chance. He can't win. It's not going to be. People just say, I don't want to vote for someone if it's not going to make any difference. And so that is working against Marco, and it's unfair. I'll tell you the most unfair thing that happened to Marco Rubio was the unsubstantiated rumors that went out saying that he was dropping out of the race before the primary. That made me angry for Marco, because it's totally unfair. And I know that his campaign quickly pushed back, but look, the damage is done. And CNN and Fox Business both ran with that story. They should never have run with it, and I call them out, and I tell you this, if you run a story like that, you absolutely must name your source. Saying unnamed sources, high-placed people, that's nonsense, and I felt for Marco, because I've been on the receiving end of that. In 2008, it was said that I had pulled out of Florida. I was in Florida at the very moment that happened, and all of our people in Florida, they gave up. His advisors and his donors were telling him to get out before the primary so as not to be embarrassed by losing his home state, and that Marco was going to go ahead and drop out in advance. I'm just saying that that is a killing kind of story. And if a news organization is going to run that, I know that they're all about getting the news, then have the guts to name your source on something that will affect an election and affect a person's life. 2 Cuban Americans in the running. And you said earlier you like Jeb Bush. But this situation for you must be something, just very quickly, it's historic.
basically speaking, the heritage of being Cuban Americans is very, I feel very proud about it.
Once again, our thanks to Governor Huckabee and to Carlos Perez for spending time with us on what was a very busy Saturday. Now, maybe some of their comments have you ready to get busy in terms of commenting to me. And here's how you can do so. Send me your comments at newsmaxtv.com/comments and a quick comment about programming tomorrow night. For those 5 primaries nicknamed Super Duper Tuesday, we hope you will be here. Our special coverage begins at 6 o'clock Eastern, 3 o'clock Pacific time. So be sure to join us right here on Newsmax TV. Michael Patrick Flanagan rejoins us next.